Hey guys, I'm with my friend Allie over here, and I just got done painting her face, and she looks freaking beat, let me tell you. So get on her level, boys and girls. And I did Allie's face and contour with the Anastasia Cream Contour Kit, and I think it turned out marvelous. It's a very seductive, smoky eye with a hint of MAC falsies, of course, and I think it's super flattering on anyone, but especially on Allie. So yeah, if you want to see how I did this look, then just keep watching. To start off this look, I'm going to be using the MAC Prep+Prime Natural Base Primer and aggressively priming this all over Allie's face. And for extra preparation, I'm going to be lathering on some Fix Plus to make sure everything's dewy and ready to go. And of course, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Cream Contour Kit in shade Light. And just to make sure it's able to blend well and super creamy, I'm going to put a little bit of the Tarte Maracuja Oil in it. And for extra coverage, I'm using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Foundation Stick in shade 120. And on top of that, I'm going to be taking the lightest shade in the Cream Contour Kit and putting that above Allie's cheekbones and just everywhere that I want to accentuate and brighten around her face. And then I'm going to be taking the middle contour shade from the palette and running that directly underneath Allie's cheekbones and just anywhere else around her face that I want to slim out. And I always like to take this underneath the lips just because it always pushes up the lips and just accentuates them more. And to make it even more dewy and blendable, I'm going to spray it again with Fix Plus. And now I'm going to blend everything together with a damp beauty blender. I always start off with blending the lighter parts around the face. I do this just because sometimes when you blend out the darker parts as well as the lighter parts, it can get a little muddy. And of course, I'm spraying on even more Fix Plus because this is like the drink of the gods to me. You can never have enough. And now that I've finished blending out the highlight, I'm going to go through and start blending out the contour. And I always like to start with the forehead, but there's really no order to this, just do as you please. And I always like to save the best for last, which is of course the cheekbones. For this I use especially very gentle motions and just really gently tap it around the face.
And then I'm going to go through with the Clinique Stay Matte Pressed Powder and shade Stay Cream, which is just a few tones darker than Allie's face, so I'm going to put this around everywhere that I contoured. But whenever you use a cream contour like this, or any other kind of cream base, it's best to set that shit pronto. Do not wait. And then to set everywhere that I highlight it, I'm going to be using the Benefit Hellow Flawless Powder in shade Ivory. And I'm going to be baking the under eye with the Lauder Mercier Brightening Powder. And honestly, the more the merrier with this. You can never have enough bake in this cake, so don't be shy. Bake it on. Slather it. Yes. And then I'm going to bake everything else that I highlighted around her face, so her nose, her forehead, and underneath her contour, and just everywhere else I want to further brighten. And speaking of contour, we're going to be using my favorite Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I like to just mix the warmer and cooler tone shade in that, just to create the perfect illusion of a slimmed out cheekbone. And I like to take this in circular motions and just really build up that pigment right underneath her cheekbone to give her that slim Kardashian cheekbone kind of look. For blush, I'm going to be using the Tarte Amazonian Clay in shade Captivating, and I'm just going to be taking this on a stippling brush and kind of just softening up that contour a little bit and just adding in more of those natural rosy tones. And then I'm going to be taking more of the Lauder Mercier Brightening Powder and running this directly underneath the contour. This is going to slim out your face the most, and this is honestly one of the best tricks you can do for contouring. Kid you not, love it. And I like to just take the same brush and just really pack this on underneath the eye area, and this is going to catch any fallout from when I do the eyeshadow, but with baking, like I said, the more the merrier, so don't be afraid. And just to set a base for the eye, I'm going to be using the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. And then I'm going to be setting this with the same Hellow Flawless Ivory shade powder that I used to highlight with, because you always want to set a sticky kind of base like this, so that way your eyeshadow can glide over and blend out a lot smoother. To start the eyeshadow off, I'm going to be using the warmest tone from the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and just running this right above Allie's crease. For the next transition shade, I'm going to be using Makeup Geek's Cupcake and running this just directly under the first bronzer that I used. This is just going to add even more warmth into the eye and start to darken it up. I'm also going to be taking this shade and all the darker tones I use on the inner corner as well as outer corner of her eye, just to create a kind of illusion and more depth in the eye, and then blending it out with a separate brush. And for the rest of the eyeshadow, I'm going to be using my warm neutral palette from MAC, and first taking up this redder color and running it just in the outer V and then the inner corner. Just to darken things up, I'm going to be taking the darkest color in the palette and running this along the lash line and at the very ends and beginnings of the eye. And don't forget to blend until your hands fall off, because blending is essential for every makeup look. Next, I'm going to be taking this copper tone from the palette and just patting that on with my finger directly into the center of the eye. And then I'm going to be using the same two matte tones I used for the upper lid to smoke out the under eye as well. And I'm running the Clinique Skinny Stick in black along her waterline. For my wing, I'm going to be using the MAC Fluidline liner in shade Blacktrack. And I do not breathe at this part. I hold my breath and say a little prayer inside, so if you want to say that prayer with me, then go ahead. For my mascara, I'm going to be using my favorite Benefit Tinted Lash Primer, which is just going to give a more subtle lash before I add the dramatic falsies on. Putting on the MAC number 48 false eyelashes, which are just very long and fluttery and very flattering on a lot of different eyes as well. I'm going to be defining her brow with the Anastasia Dipbrow in shade Medium Brown, and I'm just going to run this underneath and throughout her brow, just creating a more natural but yet very defined brow. When I get to the beginning of the brow, I always like to take my brush sideways and flip the product upwards, which creates a more natural hair-like brow. To carve out and further define the brow, I'm using the MAC Studio Finish Concealer in shade NC20. And finally, I'm dusting off all the powder that I put on before, after that's had a good about 2 hours to bake. And then I'm going to be highlighting with my favorite champagne pop from Becca, which is so sad to see because it just broke shortly after this video, so rest in peace, baby girl. You will be missed. For lipstick, I'm using the Ofra Long Lasting Liquid Lipstick in shade Americano. And I really couldn't think of a better way to top this look off with a little bit more Fix Plus. And when I say a little, I mean a lot. So drink it up, because you can never have enough of this. Yes, blow it, Chris, blow it.
Okay guys, so this is the final look right here. And we had so much fun doing this. And if you like what you saw today, then just give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next week. Love you guys. Over and out from Allie and Chris.